Pilates isn't just a workout, it's a lifestyle. From celebrity fitness routines to local wellness studios, Pilates continues to grow in popularity for its focus on core strength, flexibility, and mindful movement. But few do Pilates the way Rlvé Pilates Fitness does. Founded on a mission to bring purposeful, high-quality movement to everybody, Rlvé Pilates Fitness is known for its modern, elevated approach to classical Pilates, combining science-backed training with a focus on form, function, and community. Welcome to Celebrate Michigan, the show produced on the campus of Madonna University. I'm Chris Benson, and our guests today are the founders of Rlvé Pilates Fitness, Kendall Ciantar and Jessica Jaroh, experts in movement, recovery, and holistic wellness. Thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we're glad you're here. So tell us how you got started in Pilates. Where did this journey begin?
Yeah, so I actually started doing Pilates as a form of cross training for ballet because I've done ballet my entire life. But specifically in college, I started with reformer Pilates, and we used it, for injury prevention, helped to stabilize, build up our core muscles, ankle strength, things like that.
And reformers are those, there's like equipment involved. So.
The torture-looking machine.
Yes, yeah.
That's
exactly it. Okay.
But yeah, so that's how I got started. And then we also had an apprenticeship program through the school that I went to to become certified. So that's kind of how we traveled into that. And then
So I was a gymnast my whole life, and I had lots of injuries, and I was having kind of a hard time, when I was done with it, finding something that made my body feel good in the way that gymnastics did, and that was challenging for me. And one of my best friends, her mom actually owned a Pilates studio, and so I was fortunate enough to be introduced to it that way, and I fell in love with it, and made me feel great and helped with tons of injury recovery, stuff like that. So went from there and got certified, and yeah.
So then there's this getting certified in it, but then now there's Rlvé Pilates. So that's a big, there's got to be some steps in between there, right? So tell me how you went from, wow, I really like this, it makes me feel better, or I'm feeling like I can recover from injuries better, to I'm a business owner. Were there a few steps in there?
Oh yeah. So I originally started teaching mat Pilates before I started teaching reformer Pilates. So that was back in about 2019. I started teaching reformer Pilates in 2022. So I had been teaching a couple years with that, moving from several different studios around the area. And I was kind of driving all over the place like crazy, and I honestly just wanted to find a way to do what I loved the most efficient way possible. And it wasn't, so much about the money or anything like that. It was more so wanting to build something up that was my own. And I think Jess is kind of in a similar boat, where we just wanted to make something of ourselves and keep it lasting throughout the future. So it started as a small room while I was still at these other studios, and then Jess and I met each other teaching at a shared studio, and then we both
discussed that this was a main goal for us, was to open a space for ourselves. And I think a big focus too for us is we want to help people to feel better and actually focus on what Pilates is really about and stuff like that. So I feel for us that made us feel different about other places we were working, stuff like that, and
So it started in a small, like you said, you mentioned one small room, and that was in Brighton? Was that?
Yes.
Okay. And from there, how did it go to bigger? So now, where are you located?
So we're actually still in the same building that we started in. It was just a smaller room. We're still in the same suite, still in the same building, but just moved to a bigger room. So our goal is to kind of move from that smaller space. We now have 4 reformers in our space, but we want to keep building it up, kind of like a snowball effect. We just want to keep bringing in more people, putting more of our energy into it, and hopefully building up a bigger space in the future. But right now we're still taking those steps, but we're excited.
How neat it is to see the journey that you've had so far and to see it growing.
Yeah. Doesn't seem real.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you asked me if I knew that I was going to be here, a year ago, or even honestly 3 months ago, I think we both would have been no, absolutely not,
Wow.
But
I feel we discussed it, and we just kind of jumped right into it, like,
Yeah.
Awesome.
without really,
Head first.
yeah.
So tell me about the philosophy of your business. It sounds like you're saying that, there's Pilates, there's different varieties of it, but that you have this unique kind of take on it. So what makes you a little different, would you say, your business?
I think focusing on like the foundation of like where Pilates started and like keeping it true to like what Pilates actually is and how it's controlled. It's about coordination, it's about breath and connecting your mind to your body and really being able to like think about like, okay, I need to engage this muscle right here, like they're telling me, without like all these distractions of like loud music and lights and stuff like that, and keeping it more of a controlled environment, like the way that Pilates was originally created. So
Is that where I was going to ask, for
Yeah.
those who don't know, is that really how it started?
Yes.
The history of it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to go back to the history of it too, Joseph Pilates, the person who created Pilates, he created it in the 20th century in World War I for war veterans and soldiers.
Oh, wow.
So that's back in like 1914. But he basically created this apparatus that was like a bed with springs attached and other things that could basically help soldiers move through rehab to get better. So whether it was like a, dislocated shoulder or something wrong with their leg, they were able to, be laying down and be seated or, immobile, but still move as much as they could to build
strengthen.
muscle.
Yeah.
And a big thing of it is, building muscle on low impact and using resistance. So
lots of emphasis on like it can be for everybody. And like,
Yeah.
I mean, it started in a hospital bed. Like there were springs, attached to this hospital bed, and it's like
sounds crazy.
Yeah, a big focus on like flexibility, like getting the body mobile. Like, and Joseph Pilates always said like the more flexible your spine is, like the younger you'll stay. Or I don't really know the exact quote, but along the lines of that. So yeah.
Well, and what an interesting origin for it to start from, helping people recover, and then, as you said, like, wow, this really helped me recover.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have to take a break already. I can't believe it. I told you it would go by fast. But I'd love to hear more about that and how you connected to that. So again, we are just getting started. We're just warming up. We'll stretch deeper into the world of Pilates when we come back. Stay tuned.
Fast-paced family life in need of a slowdown?
Hello, I'm Dr. Spruce. Did you know all those green shapes on maps are parks and forests? It's true. Visit discovertheforest.org and plan to visit a park or forest near you, instead of just wondering what it would have been like.
While the word forest might make you think of distant lands from far, far away, please note parks and forests are closer than you think, which means things like beautiful scenery, fresh air, and family time are also closer than you think.
I want to see the world.
When you pick up a book
I used to read every night to all the younger kids.
and let your imagination break free, you won't believe how much fun it can be.
Let down your helmet!
Experience a world of adventure, excitement, and endless possibilities. Get tangled up in a good book. Explore new worlds. Read. Visit read.gov today.
You realize that 49 million Americans struggle with hunger? That's 1 out of every 6 Americans. These people are around us every day. They're our friends, they're our coworkers, their kids go to school with our kids. Sometimes we're not even aware that they're struggling. This problem is closer than you think. But so is the solution.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
Oh, emojis! I thought the conversation just got dumber.
Ugh, internet trolls, just ignore them.
I like you just the way you are.
I believe in you!
She's a hugger. Give her a squeeze.
Help up the hand!
Ah, there you go. Thanks, mate.
You're killing it,
Welcome back to Celebrate Michigan. I'm Chris Benson. We are continuing our conversation with Jessica Jaroh and Kendall Ciantar of Rlvé Pilates Fitness. They are bringing strength, balance, and a whole lot of core control to Southeast Michigan. We hope, right?
Yes.
Core control, core control. During the break, we were talking about Pilates being for everybody. So what's the age span or the like breadth of humanity that you've worked with in your studio?
So we have clients like ranging anywhere from 15 all the way till like almost in their 70s.
Awesome.
And I've worked with people who have had all sorts of different body stuff, injuries, pregnancy, all the things. I actually have a client right now who has osteoporosis, and we have different sorts of like props and apparatuses to add and ways to adjust the machine for specific focus on certain things like that in your body. So we have something for our reformer called the jump board, and it's kind of like a board that just sits in the end of it, and it'll help with like people with bone density, older clients, stuff like that. So yeah, everybody.
Everybody can do it, and I love that. So tell me, what does a typical session look like? Maybe for someone who's like me, okay, I'm like, I run, let's say I've never done Pilates. I'm in my 50s and I'm like, oh, you know, I'm starting to think about bone density issues and stuff like that. So what would my session look like if I came to the studio?
I will definitely say that every single time we have people come into the class, we might have a group class that's full of, 4 people, or we might have like 1 or 2 people that come in. But no matter how many people are in the class, no matter the ages, your background that you come from, within the first 5 to 10 minutes of class, Jess and I can both kind of program what kind of class we're going to teach for you.
Okay.
So we mostly, walk in and we don't know exactly what we're going to teach that person that day. But based off of the 5 to 10 minutes of movement, we can tell how the class moves and, who might need more of a modification somewhere. We might, know exactly what kind of muscle group to work on that day. Like, say somebody's got slouched shoulders. That might be a good day for something called back extension, which basically, or chest expansion, where you're pressing your arms back and you're using your back muscles to open up your chest and basically work the back muscles. But every time we start, we always start laying down with footwork first. We'll move into a little bit of abdominal work, and then from there we'll either move into bridging, which is almost like, a yoga move where you're lifting your hips up using your glutes, or we might bring you right up to standing. But it just kind of depends on the clients that walk into the space, and that also will tell us how fast we should be moving too. But
so it sounds very customized.
Yes,
Okay.
Always very customized. Doesn't matter, if you're in a private space with us and you're just one person, or if it's 4 people. We want to make sure that we're giving the clients that come in the experience that they deserve, because they pay good money too, and we want to make sure that they're really benefiting from the session.
Yeah.
So how long do I have to do Pilates before I would see feel improvement or see improvement? Like, let's say my goal is to see improvement, like in my
I think
body.
you're going to feel better when you leave.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Okay, so it's
That's our
pretty
goal.
fast.
Right away.
Okay.
But,
Okay.
I think it definitely within a few weeks, you'll start to notice a difference in the way your body's moving and stuff like that. Being more aware of your body and space, your balance will feel better, depending on the client.
And even just the way that you stand too. Like, one of the biggest focuses on Pilates is your posture.
Okay.
So even just the way that you sit or the way that you stand, you'll notice that after maybe 1 or 2 sessions,
you'll be
just already feeling taller.
Yeah. What are some of the challenges you find that people have when they start Pilates? What things have you seen?
Yeah, I would say honestly the biggest challenge is when people come in, they kind of expect us to do the workout with them, which isn't the case. We're always going to be walking around the room very hands-on. We'll tell you where to be, but we're not going to be on the reformer next to you doing it.
Okay.
So I think the biggest challenge for most people is they want to watch somebody do the exercise, but instead of that, they have to really listen and really think about what's happening in their body, because it's a lot of us talking and explaining and cueing you through the exercise, but we're not necessarily doing it with you. So I think that's the biggest disconnect when people first walked in, is they're like, you're not getting on one of these?
We're going to talk you through it, right?
Exactly. And so them having patience with themselves too.
I think there's a lot of misconceptions with Pilates. People are like, oh, I'm not flexible, I can't do it. And it's that's not the case. Pilates is supposed to help you build that flexibility, the core strength, the active flexibility and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
So how long is a typical session? Let's say I'm a beginner and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try this. How long would I spend with you in a typical
About
session?
50 to 55 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And am I going to be like, you know, when a lot of times people are thinking they have to do cardio where I'm like sweating and I'm panting and it's like, oh my gosh, you know, I don't have a workout if I don't do that. Do you feel those things when you're doing Pilates? Like, or am I not going to sweat at all? Am I going to be like, look, I'm fine. It's breezy in here. It's great.
Yeah.
I would say every time I leave a Pilates class, especially when Kendall's teaching, I'm dripping sweat. So.
Okay.
I can also attest to that when I take Jess's class. But I will say again that in the first 5 to 10 minutes, we can kind of, you know, see how the clients are moving and then based the speed of the class and what will be taught. I would say though, beginner or not, you're definitely going to feel your muscles.
Yeah.
You're definitely going to feel a little bit of what's called a Pilates shake, which is basically muscle fatigue. It's like you're concentrating so hard on what muscle is working that they physically shake and you can't control it. Doesn't mean that it hurts, but it's, you know, it's just pushing muscles to failure. But
The shakes.
The shakes.
Everybody loves them.
Yes.
So am I going to be sore is a question that some people have.
Probably. After, at least for the first time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Normally a little sore.
Yeah, and I would say, you know, you kind of determine how much work you put into it versus like how much pain you'll leave with.
Yeah.
But it's all good pain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Normal.
I believe. Well, we're going to see.
We want it to be good pain.
Yes, yes, of
That's the
course.
goal.
Okay, well, we are going to take a quick break, but don't roll up your mats yet. There's more Pilates power coming your way, and we're going to actually see a demonstration of this, so stay tuned.
Getting that college education, what are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher. You got the skills.
The smarts?
Yes, you. You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess? What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
So, are you going out tonight? I can't. My parents say I have to be home right after work. That's so gay. Totally gay.
Ugh, that is so Emma and Julia.
Why are you saying that's so Emma and Julia?
Well, you know, when something is dumb or stupid, you say that's so Emma and Julia.
Who says that?
Everyone.
Imagine if who you are were used as an insult. When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off.
Welcome back to Celebrate Michigan. I'm Chris Benson, and we're picking up right where we left off with Kendall and Jessica from Rlvé Pilates Fitness, and they're going to show us some things here. They're going to show us how you can transform movement, use the breath, and they're going to tell us about the props and everything they brought here today. So let's get started. I am not going to be doing Pilates today, but they're getting me interested in it, I have to tell you. So tell me what we've got here, and if this is pretty typical, and then I know we're going to look at some moves here.
Yeah. So this is actually not what we typically use in a class. We normally use our reformers, which are, you know, the bed attached to springs, and then there's a foot bar, shoulder rest, so it moves like that. But today, we've got a mat with us. So we're just gonna do a couple of demonstrations of mat Pilates. A lot of the movements we're doing today on the mat, we also do in our class as well, but the difference is, you know, having your hands in straps or maybe your feet on the foot bar, moving the carriage while you do them. But today it'll be a little bit more stationary.
Okay, great. Well, here we go. So walk us through what we're seeing here.
So she is starting on the mat. She's going to grab her Bala hand weights that we use. We do have ankle weights with us as well, but we're not going to torture her too much today. We're going to leave it just like this.
Thank you.
But yeah, so a typical session might start with a bridge, might start with footwork, but today we're going to start with a bridge. To cue this, I would just say, Jessica, bring your arms up to the ceiling above your shoulders. Take an inhale, just engage your core, squeeze your glutes. Exhale, scoop and roll the pelvis to the ceiling. Beautiful articulation. Take an inhale to hold at the top. Think about pressing those heels a little bit harder into the floor. And an exhale to slowly curl and roll down. Upper back, mid back, low back, and pelvis.
Wow.
Same thing. Deep breath in. Exhale to scoop and lift. Holding those hips up nice and high, we'll just hold there. And then using the weights, we would do right arm only, lowers in line with your waist. Lift it back up and hold. Left arm lowers in line with your waist and lift it back up and hold. And then just keep that moving at your own pace. Basically what she's doing with the weights, not only is she using her glutes to keep her pelvis lifted in this position, fully extended hips, but because of the weight use, she's also forced to use her transversus abdominis, which is basically the belt buckle muscle or the corset muscle that wraps around her torso. So right now she's activating that core muscle to stabilize. On this next one, go ahead and keep both arms up to the ceiling, take a deep breath in, and then exhale to roll the pelvis down to the mat. And then we'll do one more exercise to show the teaser, which is one of our like classical Pilates moves. Take an inhale, you're gonna pull both legs up to tabletop, 90 degrees at the hip, 90 degrees at the knee. Extend your legs to 45 degrees. Take an inhale to gently nod your chin, and then exhale to scoop and curl all the way up. Beautiful, just holding there. See if you can lift those weights up 2 inches and down 2 inches, keeping the height of the chest the whole time. She's got a beautiful teaser.
She's doing a great job.
Nice, we'll go last 3, holding that balance, in 2. Beautiful, Jess. Last one, keep those arms lifted. See if you can pull your chest and thighs a little bit closer together. There you go, hold for 5. 4, open the chest, 3, 2, inhale, lower the legs to the mat. And then exhale, round over those legs today. Beautiful.
Oh my gosh, I just want to applaud for her because that looks like so much work.
Yes, and it's also too, you know, her job to make it look easy, and that's how we build up our clients too.
So this is good. This is good. So when you have clients and you're working with them like that, I just noticed how you're just being very calm in how you're approaching it. What is the key to success for them? What if they can't do, like, they're not as far along as Jess was?
Yeah, so I would say the biggest thing are the modifications. So for every single exercise, I always tell people there's about 10 modifications. And it might be with, you know, what your body does, or it might be a prop that we add on, or a setting that we put the reformer in, but you can always modify.
Yeah, lots of modifications for everybody. So.
And if you, you know, as I'm thinking about it, if you were like, oh, I don't know that I can really do this, like what kind of interplay is there between the person doing the workout and the coach, if you will? Like, do you say like, oh gosh, I'm not sure I can do this, or can I modify this? Is there a conversation?
Yeah, tons of modifications. If it feels like it's hurting their body in some sort of sense, like low back pain, we have different ways to like move the body that will keep like injury spots on the body safe. So
and it's also our job to work very on the fly and very, you know, on the spot. So if we're teaching a full class, for instance, and, you know, 3 people got it down, they're moving really well, really smoothly, but say the last person on the reformer is having issues, it's our job to really quickly adapt to make sure that that person still gets a great experience from the class and they're still getting a good workout that their body needs. So adaptation is really key in a group class, especially.
And I heard you talking about breath, because I was holding my breath like, oh, that would be so hard to do. So, you know, I noticed you coach on that as well. Do you find that people like tend to hold their breath?
Yes,
they do,
A key component to Pilates, like one of the 6 foundational principles of Pilates is actually breath. So being able to connect the way you move to your breath to make things like your breath can help you in any sort of sense, the way you move and stuff like that. So.
And why do we do that? Why do we hold our breath as humans?
We think it makes it easier.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Well, tell me,
Sensing out.
where can people find you, like on socials or online? Where can we look for Rlvé Pilates?
Yeah, so our Instagram handle is Rlvé Pilates, which is just spelled RLVE and then PILATES, Pilates. I should know how to spell that. And then our website is just www.rlvepilatesfitness.com. And then same thing, it's RLVE FITNESS, and then yeah.
Wonderful.
Skip the Pilates.
Pilates
I'm like, wait, that didn't sound right, but yes.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Well, I am so glad that both of you came today, and I appreciate you sharing your philosophy and just this idea that everybody can do this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Well, I'm so glad you came to join us today, and we just want to give a big thank you again to Jessica and Kendall from Rlvé Pilates Fitness for sharing their passion and expertise. I could feel it here in the studio. I'm sure you could too. I hope you learned some new techniques, or maybe you're thinking about going and checking out Pilates. We're just happy to celebrate all the amazing things that happen right here in Michigan with you. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.